world. It's Radioactive Podcast. It's your host, Ace Boogie. And I have some special guests with me today. Ladies, can y'all introduce yourselves? Start with you.
Yeah, let me introduce my lips first. I am Sacred Fantasy. I am an author, poet, newly songwriter, newly trying to singer, and I'm just a lover of all things.
I'm jC.Tranquility. I'm a mother. I'm a poet. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a lover.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all let us know if y'all can't hear us or anything, man. We gotta make sure y'all hear us out there. All right, so let's start off with a little game. A little game to loosen us up a little bit. All right. So this game is gonna be called the deal breaker. Yeah. So y'all gotta let me know whether this is a deal breaker or it's not a deal breaker. Okay. So y'all ready?
Yeah.
A man or woman, however, staying with their parents.
It's not a deal breaker.
Not a deal breaker.
It's only a deal breaker if they're just staying there being lazy. Because after Hurricane Harvey, I moved in with my mother to save up money to get an RV so I can go on tour. Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
I feel like just what she said, circumstances.
Put the mic closer to you. Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Can you hear me? Okay, cool. I feel like it just depends on circumstances. Right. I'm not gonna say, oh nah, he ain't gonna pass because he lives at home with I just feel like circumstances, so I'm gonna stay in between.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. Okay, what about having too many kids?
Oh, I got a little one, so I haven't really been put into the position to where I'm like, I think maybe one is cool, but I have one of my own too, so yeah.
So what counts as too many kids?
2. No, I think 3. I think more than 2 would be like, because if the first 2 didn't work out, what I mean? There's questions there.
I feel like if there's not a lot of other people associated with these kids, like it can be like 3, 4 different people, 4 different children from 4 different people. I love children. Like I'll be somebody's stepfather, stepmother, whatever. So I love children, but as long as they're well behaved, I don't care.
No, so it's not a deal breaker.
No.
It just depends on it just depends on how many. You'll take a football team.
I'll take a football team, yeah, because everybody gets a job. Let's do this.
There's a lot to that question, right? You can't be thinking simple questions like that.
Okay. All right. So what if there was a man, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's just say, I'm trying to see the best way to put this.
Yeah.
He's taking care of this child. Come to find out later on, his child isn't his. Now, mind you, he don't sign the birth certificate. He owns the child support for this child, but he finds out it's not his. And he just chooses, I'm not going to take care of this child.
Not going to take care of.
He's not.
Okay, first of all, I don't date men. A.
Okay.
B. If I were in that situation and he signed a birth certificate and say he's not going to take care of a child that's not his, how old is this child?
Let's just say the child's 5 now.
Oh no. You've been that kid's dad. Now you don't want to be that child's dad just because of that. That's you're questionable. Yeah, it's a deal breaker because it means you only commit to things if it's ideal for you. So no, that's a big deal breaker. Okay. I would be like, yeah, I'll be that child's father.
What about you?
I don't know. I don't. I'm like, if you made the choice to have a child, I don't think there's.
But it's not his though.
It ain't. Oh, you realize it wasn't his. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
In the child's eyes, are you the father? You know what I mean?
Of course, in the child's eyes, yes.
Well, then I feel like you should be there for that child. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you're hurting that child. So that's what it comes down to.
All right. About real bad credit. I'm talking about horrible.
Like how? Like 200?
Like horrible.
Okay. I feel like I grew up firsthand knowing how bad, like how credit could affect you. My mom and dad, they didn't work too hard on that, So I saw the struggle of it, and no, you gotta
that's
be
no for you,
easy
dog.
on that. You gotta keep easy on that. I know firsthand things happen. You know what I mean? But if I know people who mess up their credit and they just keep continuing. You know what I mean? They're like, my credit's messed up anyways. You hear that all the time, So if you're not doing anything to try to like maintain it or help it, boost it, and you don't care about it, no.
Deal breaker. You?
So it's not necessarily him having bad credit, just him not working on it.
Yeah, I mean, things happen, but if you ain't doing anything and try to help that out, no.
Is this business credit or personal credit?
Both. It's bad.
That business credit, never. No, that's a deal breaker. Like JC was saying, if you're working on it, it's different. But if it depends what's on the credit. Like if it's a whole bunch of broken leases and a whole bunch of credit cards, it means you have you have a lack of responsibility. So if you can't maintain something as simple as a credit card, you can't maintain a relationship with me.
Okay.
That's sacred fantasy, y'all.
Yeah.
So what about not having a car?
Ooh.
What are the circumstances?
I'm good. You know what I mean? I got a car.
So you'll pick him up?
Nah.
I say she didn't say that. She didn't say that.
Now I got limits. You know what I mean? I think growing up, I was in that situation. I was like maybe a teen picking up. You know what I mean? Pulling up. But I think now that I'm a mother, and I'm a girl, I don't think I'd pull up on nobody and pick them up. I don't think so.
You're too old for that.
Yeah, I don't got time for that.
What's your thoughts?
You have to have a vehicle.
You have to have a vehicle.
I mean, we can be friends and I can assist you in, steps to getting a vehicle, but I can't be like, hey, I'm gonna pick you up for the date that you planned. No.
Okay, last one. Now, I don't know how you gonna fit this because you just said that you don't deal with men, right? Okay.
I have an answer for everything.
I just need you to put yourself in that position, okay? So you're in Walmart. Yeah. Y'all meet this man. Y'all chopping it up, but he has condoms in his hand. Conversation's going well.
Yeah.
But he has condoms in his hand. Deal breaker?
He's smart. He's responsible. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing, you know what I mean? At least that shows a good sign. But it sounds like your mind is already busy. You already have life. You're already thinking about something. You got moves to make in that. So I'm like,
okay. What do you think?
The deal's been broken when the discussion started. Deal breaker.
Girl condoms.
Okay.
They do. Never used one.
All right, guys. So what all do you guys do?
Massage therapy.
Okay.
Skincare, waxing, eyelash extensions, nails, writing. I'm an author, writing songs, recording songs, anything, crocheting, making jewelry, host events. Have great friends.
Oh my goodness. One-stop shop, huh?
Yeah.
And you, ma'am?
Pretty much, the same. I'm a poet. I'm an artist. I also curate music. I host events. Yes. I own my own shop, my own little business. Yeah. Serving boba. I used to cook Chinese cuisine. I'm a mama.
Amazing, dope person that gets everybody together.
Yeah.
The works. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your ethnicity? Because I'm trying to guess it here. I can't.
I'm taking a risk. I'm taking a risk telling you to guess over.
Nope, I'm not guessing. No, I'm not guessing. Go ahead.
I'm Chinese Filipino.
Really? Mm-hmm. Chinese Filipino, guys. There you go, Filipino guys. All right. I just wanted to know that. All right. So both of you guys do poetry, correct?
Yeah.
So how did y'all get into it?
I've always been writing. I started journaling ever since I can remember. I still have my journals from when I was 4, 5. But my brother wrote a poem when I was 10. And I'm like, oh my gosh, let me write one. The very first poem I wrote was so dope. I don't even know how. And I just continued to write ever since then.
Can you remember it?
It was like, you're supposed to be my brother, something, something, something. It was just basically talking about black on black violence.
How old were you when you did that?
10, I just said. No, I'm playing 10 years old. No, 10. I was 10.
Okay, she's super woke. Okay.
Yeah.
And you, ma'am?
Same. I've always written poems all throughout high school. Yeah, I think I've always done poetry. I grew up around the rap culture a lot. My dad and his friends, they used to freestyle a lot. So my brother would be with them. My brother started rapping at 7, and I was a little tune deaf. I couldn't really catch a beat like that. So then I just turned off my music, and then I just started writing poems, or I guess just writing verses just without a beat. And then I realized that was poetry. And then I just started looking into poetry and different poets that were inspiring. Went about it that way.
So your first time doing spoken word?
13.
13. Was you nervous?
A freestyle, no.
Oh, so you just felt like you had this.
Yeah, I used to freestyle. I stopped freestyling when I got into a relationship that I feel like took my words. So now I'm at jC and I started freestyling again. It was just like, it was home because that's what I was known for, just getting on the mic and just freestyling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about her brought that back out?
So I went to an event.
Chicken and waffles.
Chicken and waffles.
Oh, shout out Calvin. You had him last week. He threw an event, chicken and waffles.
Yeah. And it was Marsha's event.
It was Marsha? That was a Marsha's event?
Yeah, it was.
Are you serious?
I promise. It was Marsha's event. That's the only one I've ever... No, it wasn't.
It was Jasmine.
It was Jasmine's event. You're right. It was Jasmine's event.
Yeah, it was Jasmine. Jasmine and Calvin. They threw it. It was the mimosa one.
You're right. It was Jasmine's event.
Yeah,
sorry, Jasmine. See, I saw jC sitting down, and she looked at me, and I looked at her, and it was just like this energetic exchange.
Just like vibing still, and then like I'm always like, if there's music, I'm getting jiggy. You know what I mean? I'm just jamming. And then like I look over and Sacred is too, so I'm like, oh, but we didn't really make contact right away. We just kind of like across the like room type thing.
Okay. And she invited me to Freestyle Friday. Bubbly Boba. Yeah.
Okay.
I just started freestyling.
We'll get on that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what brought it back out. And jC started all of this.
Okay. And your first time doing spoken word?
Oh, my first, honestly, all my poetry has been to myself. Like I used it to like meditate on my own things. You know, I was going through things in life, and so I would go compose myself and just start writing. It wasn't until I opened up my shop, I started having open mics and so forth, and I just started seeing different artists, and I was like, I think God sat me down and was like, you need to speak. Like I never really wanted to shine like that. You know what I mean? I was just trying to coordinate, bring people together. That's what I wanted to do, but once he told me to speak, I started doing it. I started realizing that it was making an impact, you know? So then I just went for it. That was honestly that was like about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. So this is still fresh where I just started like showcasing.
Really? So are you a shy person?
I don't feel like I'm a shy person. I feel like I'm an aware person. So, you know, at first it just takes me a little bit, you know what I mean, I'm cool though. I keep everything like cordial, so I don't really call it shy. Growing up, I was so shy. Like in all the pictures you'll see with me, like hiding behind my mom and dad, you know what I mean, all shallow. But I worked with myself. I got past that.
Yeah.
So who's y'all's favorite poet?
Maya Angelou. Liberation was named after her, saying she liberated. Well, her mom liberated her every time she would come. She's a woman, but when she needed her mom, she would come back, and her mom would tell her, I liberate you to go back into the world and, you know, be that woman. And her mom was sick on her deathbed. And she told her mom, like, she said, I love you so much, so I'll liberate you. I'll liberate you to leave because I don't want you in pain. And after she told her mom that, her mother passed. So liberation was a tribute. Well, not the words, but it's the title to Maya Angelou.
So what about her speech?
Everything. Maya Angelou, she didn't care. Like, she knew she wasn't the most attractive woman in the world, but she knew she was the most beautiful woman in the world because it comes from the inside out, you know. Maya Angelou, she was raw. She stopped talking because she knew the impact of her words. She was, raped at the age of 5 or 7, and she told the people in her town, and they went and murdered the man that raped her. So she knew that by talking, she could make an impact. So she stopped talking because she believed that, you know, she told the people what happened, that her words got the man murdered. So she stopped talking for a numerous amount of years, and all she had was herself to speak to. So then when she started to speak again, you know, she had this poetry. When you only have yourself to talk to, you know, that's the purest form of enlightenment. You get to know yourself. So I feel like with all her poems, she was true to who she was, like Still I Rise. You know what I'm saying? So she's telling people, you know, you may cut me down with, I forgot how it went, like with your bitter lies, but still like dust I rise. She's amazing.
Yes, indeed. She was crucial with them words. And you, ma'am?
I always talk about it. If you've heard me before, my inspiration draws a lot from Tupac. A lot of my poetry, you know, it's just because of the circumstances he was put in. You know what I mean? Violence was all around him, and he chose to put his foot down and shine light. You know what I mean? Because you'll have two people, you know what I mean? You have two people who either get off to violence, you know what I mean, they like it, or you have people who just completely put a downfall on it, you know what I mean? And they just talk about how bad it does and all the negative that it derives from violence, you know. And for him, he stood in the middle, you know. He was still doing what he had to do, but at the same time, he was telling his people and showing them how to use these ethics to be able to really come up in the world. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So what type of style did you say that you guys have?
I think we're pretty diverse.
Yeah.
We're both pretty diverse. We like pushing our limits, you know what I mean? We both have like a melody that we have to ourselves, you know, but I don't think there's anything like there's not a straight path that we're on.
Right. Yeah. I
and what
agree.
do y'all usually write about?
Oh, I write about everything, but I give people love poems because it's just like people can relate to that. But I write about everything. I have bars like in my notebook. People don't understand. Like once this album drops, these bars that I have in this notebook, I'm telling you, it's just like, oh, I can't wait. Bar heavy.
Bars.
Okay. Got the bars.
Yeah. No. Oh yeah. For sure. For sure, man. I mean, where do you strive? Like your inspiration?
Personal, I guess personal circumstances, you know, just things I'm not the one to talk on something that I never been through or that I don't understand, you know. So everything that my poetry comes from, they're all like my process to my poems are like I'll really sit down with myself and I'll just think about certain things that I've been through, and like kind of like mini flashbacks. So I try to interpret that into my poetry so you could see what place I was in and feel what I was in.
So is there anything about the poetry world that you guys don't like?
Yeah. I feel like people don't take poetry as serious as rap, where most poets are bar heavy and we could outright a lot of rappers. I feel like
is that a challenge?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, just give me a beat because you know what I'm saying. Like, but no, that's the only thing I don't like. It's just like the people think like poetry is like they find it boring because there's no music behind it. The difference is a lot of people like rap because of the beat. A lot of people like poetry because they hear our words. So the difference is you can have a
stronger.
Exactly.
Right.
An artist is not bar heavy with a dope beat and people listen to it. But then you have a
nowadays. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Everywhere. But then you have a poet who has words and you can really feel what we're talking about. You know? Something that I cannot stand. I see a lot of people doing with poetry is because you could talk slow and give yourself and use your voice. They make it super sexual and derogative. Like that's one thing I cannot stand with poetry. Poetry is to be able to speak. You know what I mean? Speaking and provide inspiration and feelings. And so when you have people getting up there and using it to a sexual manner, like keep that behind the doors. Like that's something that I can't do.
So no erotic words.
Yeah, erotic. Personally, I've heard some where people, where it's strictly erotic. You know what I mean? I've heard people where they incorporate. You know what I mean? Like if you hear some of her poetry is erotic, but it's on a whole other level. Pixie dust and you can't. Yeah, that's different. You know what I mean? But I'm talking when you're just head forward, but just
it has no substance.
That's a no for me.
Is there any spoken word person that's out right now that y'all are listening to?
Sacred Fantasy.
Ooh, Sacred Fantasy. jC.Tranquility.
Die line.
I mean, now we listen to one another because we support one another, you know. And I listen to people from different cities, but what I'm doing more is listening to local people because it's like, if it's somebody they're already famous, they already have that clout, they already have that following. The goal for what we're doing is supporting people here so we can gain and grow, and have a following. And honestly, that's one thing that's kept me in San Antonio. I'm not from here. I'm from Chicago, lived in Houston, and I've been wanting to leave, but I'm just like, it's just so much work to be done here. But we listen to each other.
Stay. Don't leave me. Don't leave me.
I'm just like, I like fast-paced environments and
San Antonio is getting there though. That's one thing where I see so much opportunity for San Antonio. We have so much room to grow. San Antonio, we have the Alamo here. There's been history that's been laid out in San Antonio. It's just that I feel like people are so abroad that there hasn't been somebody to really set forth and try to pave that way directly for San Antonio. Because just like the people, they want to get big, they move to Houston, they move to Dallas, they take off to Cali. You know what I mean? Which is straight, but I feel like me and her, we're we're more involved. You know what I mean? We think for our community. We're huge on that. Every single time we talk, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, what can we provide our people with? You know?
So y'all big on community.
Yeah,
huge,
of course.
Huge. Yeah.
So I mean, what all have y'all done in the community as of lately?
Oh, we host, curate showcases.
Okay.
Get people together, like even with like Heartbreak, you know, they had like the party where people were rapping over beats and they were, you know, giving out beats, telling people about ASCAP, BMI, you know, how to get like DistroKid, how to get distribution, how to get streams, and to start collecting royalties for their music. And even poets can collect royalties for their poems. A lot of people don't know that. Oh yeah. Every time I perform on stage, I'm registered under ASCAP, so I collect royalties for my poems. You can distribute poems, a poetry album, or just even your broadcast. You can get paid for your streams if you distribute them with DistroKid. Yeah, it's so many different things you can actually, put on there. Oh yeah, let's talk.
Yeah, that was a cool one for Labor Day Monday. You know, we put together a little event. I reached out to like a few artists and we went back. I'm signed to a record label, Heartbreak Record. Andy, he's the CEO, so I asked him if we could use his space. I invited people just to work. You know what I mean? So we all came together. We did some game breakers. You know, at my shop, that was what I was big on. I was throwing weekly events. That's how I invited her out to Freestyle Friday. So I would be open mic, and then afterwards I put on freestyles, and everybody would just come and freestyle. So it's like, so that was more of like an emotional. That was very emotional tied, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just to let those emotions flow. And I think that's what's important is people who go through things, they hold that in, you know. And I remember what happened, what I used to do when I would hold those emotions in. So that's why just doing stuff like that. We do showcases. We stay real in tune with each other. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Whatever connections we make with people, we stay in tune with them.
Right.
So what does poetry mean to y'all?
Power.
Everything.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, there's a lot of things that tie in with poetry, but one thing that I've gotten the most out of poetry is the power that it gives you. Speaking, I like to influences in my life, like Martin Luther King. He was a huge influence because growing up, I did an autobiography on him. He was the one that was given to me. So I remember I was only in like 3rd grade, and I started doing my research, you know what I mean, and just seeing how much stand it took him just by standing up and speaking. I was like, man, our voice has power, but there's a lot of fear that comes into it. But T.I. said it. He's like, the number one antidote to fear is preparation. So if you're prepared, you don't got to be scared, you know? So I think just the power it gives us.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just liberating. The word liberation, it means so much to me now. Because you plant seeds, and I tell people, be careful what you say. Because my grandmother told my mom when I was 4 that she didn't want to live in her house any longer. And her life was taken away shortly after. And my grandfather's. So I believe in the power of words, you know. And so poetry for me is just freeing. I can give to people, plant seeds. Like someone asked me today, they're like, I fell down. Write me a poem. And I don't know this person. Like, you know, we've had casual conversation like in the last week, but I gave them this poem, and it was like he said is what he needed. So poetry is power. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a culture to it?
Is there culture?
I feel like there's a huge culture to it.
Definitely.
I feel like I don't know if I would want to specify like what exact culture is, because I wouldn't want to be the one to embark that within poetry, you know. But I feel like the same thing as far as I guess just people are struggling, you know what I mean, and knowing that if you create, because I could sit here and preach to you all day long just having a casual conversation and telling you what I would get from it, but if I take the time and I put it into a manner to it, and I create my own melody for it and just kind of like slowly speak it to you, I feel like that's kind of what creates poetry a little bit more, to be in depth rather than me just talking to you. So I feel like over the years it has been embarked within, you know what I mean, cultures, different cultures. I don't feel like there's one culture that specifies poetry.
I agree, because, you know, music is poetry. That's culture there. And you have different genres of music that have their own culture. Then you have books that are poetically written. Like, even if you read the Bible, it's written in poetry. So I feel like
it's been here.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a broad spectrum.
So where has poetry taken y'all?
Oh, poetry has taken me here. Poetry has ignited who I am as a person. I've always knew who I was as a poet. If I lose myself, I can write and find out who I am. I've lost myself in poetry to the point where, like you can find yourself and lose yourself within you. But poetry has grown me into this woman I am now.
I feel like the same. Poetry has, it's definitely made me wise. You know what I mean? You can go any route whenever you're composing something, you know. I feel like with my poetry, because I want to stay in between a fine line, like there's a boundary that I set myself into. I feel like it's made me wise, very wise, you know, staying within my spectrum and knowing how to navigate as a person in general, and also just showcasing your art. You come around many different people, man. You come around a lot of different people, and it teaches you, you know what I mean? Teaches you how people work and so forth. So yeah, it's taking me a far way, for sure, especially when I start showcasing. Like when you start speaking to people, you need to, if you can't dish it out, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're not gonna be able to take it in. You know what I mean? So if you dish it out, be able to take in whatever anybody hands you.
Right.
Okay. How do y'all prepare for a performance? Like, what are the steps that y'all take?
Praying. Mine's praying. A lot of my poetry is spiritually, like it's like spiritual poetry, if you ask me, and so I try to. That's my ultimate goal. Like for me, it's like in one I say, "Uzanaze, what I'm coming for." God sent us here to gain our key to the winning door, and that's everything that you're asking. You know, I don't feel like my time here, it's not given just to me. You know what I mean? It's like I want to make it to heaven, and I want everybody to see that God gave us that opportunity to be able to get there. So it's like longevity. You know what our future lies on.
Okay.
Someone just asked me, they're like, you don't rehearse before you go on stage? I'm like, no.
She queen at it. You can give her a mic at anywhere and anytime, and Sacred be ready.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ready, so for sure.
You're right. I mean, I just like to talk.
Okay. Well, speaking of being ready, what's up? Can I get you to spit something for me, and then you can go ahead and go after her?
You want to like a freestyle? You want something already wrote?
No, I want something that you feel the people might need right
now. Okay. I give you liberation.
Okay.
You wanted love without conditions. Not to mention the conditions that were mentioned, friends and love and no commitment. But expecting me to commit to a friendship, keep my love available and wait in a distance. But once one realizes the difference between benefactors, beneficiaries, and benefits, and when you've been a factor with no benefit, you see the situation differently. Once you realize X's and O's and ones and zeros not part of the same code. The gyre of the brain, the myocardium of the heart are not the same fold. The lips speak O's and actions animate character. So enterprise your energy. Never let love be your enemy. You may feel like I'm your frenemy, but I'm really thirsty for synergy. I'm in love with the inner me. And sometimes letting go shows how much one truly deliberates holding on. If love never dies and energy never dissipates, one day you'll apprehend why I liberated you. Tattoo. Tattoo means 3 in Swahili. Because if I say I love you too much, it means I love you with a boundary. I love you 360 infinitely. That's a cipher. I love you forever. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Snap, snap.
Do you actually do that at poetry show?
Yeah. I mean, shoot, we be getting it. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I can share one that's called Free Will in History.
All right, go ahead.
You better come correct before you talk to me. This talent here is heavenly. I don't need no Benz or Bentley. I'll whip my hoopty so humbly. I'm tired of people always bugging me about my next step that's silently. These streets done raised me then turned on me, so I had to boss up and move separately. But they stay close, steady lurking me, trying to take me back and devour me. But my eyes are open and I can clearly see that they don't really even care for me. Just to do their dirty work to make it off of me. But when I get caught up, they'll run and flee. You'll feel that breeze from the enemy, because that is his plan for you and me. He will say that it's home that never set you free. Let me tell you about a man who has set me free. He was sent to earth for you and me. He will hold you high and so gently. He calls me by my name to be different, see. This world will only take from you, numb you up and watch you draw, show you the way and give you the tool, because I made up my mind and I have earned my jewel, because my life's been tested and I was never full. Used to feel so empty, but now my cup is full. So if you take his hand, he will pull you through, treat you like a king and queen and give you a pedestal. I promise, my testimony is clearly proof. Let's stand together and make this change. We'll fight together and the rest will fade. All you gotta do is turn the page and make sure you grind each and every day. So if you're feeling this, then you're feeling me. If you don't, then we see differently. But that is exactly what that's supposed to be, because I call that free will and history.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I know about 80% of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else about poetry that I may have missed, or that y'all want to talk about? Because we want to switch it up a little bit.
I don't know.
I think just tune in. For me, it's like anytime you hear somebody stand up and say they're a poet, it's not just something where you could just sit and like wait to rock to and then hear it. Like, no, like as a poet, we'll say one thing that means a million things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like really dive deep, and make sure you have your ears open for any poet that chooses to speak.
I agree. Because a lot of poets, especially first time, they're nervous. So what I would like to touch on is people who are poets or singers, rappers, whatever talent you have.
Be confident.
Be confident, comfortable. Like, if you have a stage to step on, do it, because having that fear is what's going to keep you from ever doing it. You say, I'll do it next time. Just go. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not your best performance, it doesn't matter. We all started somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And just be serious. Yeah, if we're talking to like poets and artists, and music is very, if you look back, especially in the rap culture, if you look about where rap music has evolved from, it's sad. You know what I mean? It's very sad. Within even Nas, I was watching a documentary on Nas, you know what I mean? And even his people were talking about it, that like all the work that they were putting into the streets and whatnot, you know what I mean? It wasn't for fun. They weren't getting off to it. It was because it was so the person next to them, the kid next to them, wasn't gonna have to do it. You know what I mean? They were taking a stand, and that's beautiful. And I feel like people need to understand that, like, struggle is what you make of it. You know what I mean? But if you're playing with fire, you're gonna get burnt.
That's true.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So, guys, I seen this post.
What?
And on this post, it says, I want to see y'all.
Yeah.
So it says, men are not intimidated by strong women, but far too many women believe that being aggressive, rude, and generally unpleasant makes them strong. No, it makes them unsufferable. It's not that we can't handle you, but we prefer not to, in light of better options.
You're talking to two right people to answer this question.
First of all, what's y'all's definition of a strong woman?
A strong woman is a woman that can handle her own. See, it's a difference between ego and insecurity. There can be a woman, she's strong, she can handle her own, and a man thinks that she don't need him.
Okay.
See, no one really needs anyone. I mean, infant needs their mother, but when you get to a certain point, you need you. Your path is yours. So if I need a car, if I need to pay my bills, I need to work for that.
Correct.
Now, you can't approach a woman who's been taking care of herself, been doing everything on her own, and tell her, I can help you, I'm going to do this for you, when she's already established. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's a matter of confidence. Men want to call women aggressive. Like, people tell me I'm aggressive. I'm very passionate, So that's personal for me, Mm-hmm. So you can't come into my circle and say, I can do this for you. Okay, if you can do that for me, just do it. You don't have to tell me. You can just do it. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's just like, let women be women. I feel like women have to have our guards up, because a lot of people see us as sexual objects, or they see us, tell us like, oh, you have to be this, you have to be that, you got to be in the kitchen, you got to be doing this and doing that. And women now, we are in the forefront. We want to get what we want. Mm-hmm. So I feel like aggression is move out my way. A strong woman would say, excuse me, I have somewhere to be.
Because with intention.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays it's crazy. Like, women think, like, the ideal woman nowadays has to, hold her chest out, walk a little bit, be rude, be sassy. They have to I feel like that's how they hold themselves. Like, no, like you look back to women were gentle. You know what I mean? They spoke when needed to. Like, you know what I mean? And it's with knowing your place and your role in the world. I feel like a lot of people, they want to be everything. They want to be in charge of everything. And I understand that. I'm stubborn. You know what I mean? I'm somebody who I like to take things, you know what I mean, and implement them in my way. But at the end of the day, like, I know my place. You know what I mean? And I silence myself. You know what I mean? I had to. So I feel like nowadays it's people, like, I feel like as a whole, people shine light on a woman being strong because how ready they get, you know what I mean, or what kind of clothes they put on and how they hold themselves when they walk down the hall and so forth. Like, it has nothing to do with that. I feel like being a woman, you have to understand that men and women were born with different traits.
Right. Okay.
And so it's like when a man can implement a woman with the things that he was born with, then a woman could do that for him as well. Correct. I say that in one of my poems too. I said, men were born with the temptation in their blood that they can never lose, but women were designed to help them choose. I mean, I feel like a man can lead. Yeah. And at the end of the day, men are supposed to lead. That's what they were designated for. But a woman was made to guide. You know what I mean? Be that. So for me, it's not even just how we're going to help men. It's like, as a woman, we help each other. I'm going to help guide you where areas you don't see. As a woman, you're going to see areas where. So I feel like it all comes down to a mental note. You know, I could not have any makeup on. My hair could be looking out of there. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm going to hold my ground. You know what I mean? Because power is in here. You know, it's not anything that's on the outside. You know, I feel like it definitely comes within what's in your spirit and what's in your head.
Can y'all see that passion that you spoke of? Can y'all see that passion being taken as aggression?
For sure. I know me for sure. I be talking, you know what I mean? Like, I could come off very aggressive, I feel like, but it's just because when you're passionate, you know what I mean? We know what we want. We're visionaries. You know what I mean? And that's what we're aiming for. So when we see that something is not assisting that or getting in the way, we don't got time for that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of those comments are always reflected upon women, but you got to look at it like women are called B's and H's in songs all day long. The average woman that makes it in the music industry, she made it because she takes her clothes off. So if we are foreign treated like sexual objects, maybe women wouldn't have such a strong barricade up, you know.
And that begins with us, you know.
Exactly.
That's what
I was going to ask that. Who? I mean, do you think that it's men's fault?
Honestly, I feel like it's not men's fault. I feel like it was our fault for giving them the room to be able to set those boundaries. You know what I mean? And then so it's into the point where now we feel like we have to play that part. But I feel like as a woman, if we really all stood our ground and knew what we were really, the power that we really do hold as a whole, if we were all to put our foot down and like really show men what it's about, I feel like they wouldn't have that room. You know what I mean? Men would step on like eggshells when it comes to start talking about women, and that's how they should be. You know what I mean? Because a real woman will put you in your place.
Exactly.
Like a real woman
really
would not
quickly.
let you speak on them like that. There's been many times where people ask me, I just happened, an artist asked me to hop on a feature. I told him send him my way. You know what I mean? Send him my way, and his verse was already written down and recorded. So I'm listening to it. And the first minute, he's talking about making it clap. And I'm like, all right, nah, I can't. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do this with you. You know what I mean? Because then people look at me and think that I'm that type of person. I work too hard to show people what I'm about and who I want to be. You know, I'm not perfect. I'm a woman working to be a godly woman. And when I say I'm working, I'm not there yet. You know, fully I'm not there yet, but I'm trying to get there, you know? So I feel like as a whole, like if women who are hearing this, you know what I mean? You start getting that registered in your head that, look, like, I could do a lot in this world. You know what I mean? There's been a reason why women continuously get knocked down. And it's not because they're weak. It's because they see the power that we withhold. Exactly. And they don't want us to overrule that.
Exactly. That's why I do feel like women hold so much power. It's like the brainwashing. Like, I don't want to get too technical, like even with Willie Lynch theory, brainwashing. So it goes back to even when slaves were brought over here, the women were used as sex objects. You know what I'm saying? They were looked at as sex objects. So it's a lot of ancestral trauma. It's a lot of like parents not showing their women exactly what to be and how to be a lady, or it's being missed. You see your mom, out here working as a, doing things, then, women emulate their parents. And it's just like, I feel like it's just a disconnection between men and women. And if we would all come together and even talk about these issues, maybe it wouldn't be such a disconnect. Because I have a male friend, he calls me, he was like, I don't know if he can say the viewer, like a woman would.
You can cuss.
He said, bitch. And then he said it twice to me. And I said, third time, I have to let him know, like, don't call me that. I don't like
is
that.
Is he gay?
No, he's not gay.
Why is it okay if he was gay?
No, it wouldn't be okay if he were gay.
Even like girls, you'll hear the time we're like, bitch, like, you know what I mean? But
it's only okay if you're a woman.
No, I don't feel like there's any way. I feel like we've normalized it. You know what I mean? We're normalizing it. And it's far beyond our reach right now, because look at all the upcoming artists, you know what I mean? Like the baby, like they up there, you know what I mean? Shug, like they saying some rowdy stuff about women in all their music videos. They're interpreting naked woman, you know what I mean? Shaking everything they got, you know what I mean? I feel like I can't with that. You know what I mean? For me, it makes me sad. It makes me feel, as a woman, it makes me like have to feel like I gotta work 10 times harder to prove that I'm not that woman. I shouldn't be having to prove something that I'm not. I should be proving what I am. But since we're working against forces, and it's something that's already this has already like something that's abroad. You know what I mean? It's already here. It's what people get off to nowadays, and for me, it's very sad. You know what I mean? But change will not happen unless we all try to create some type of change. And I feel like that's something we're trying to do. As being a woman, you know what I mean? Especially in the community, the only thing we could do is lead by example.
What words of encouragement would you have for those men who are intimidated by strong women?
Grow some no.
That's a simple way.
That's sacred.
But what exactly?
Okay, fan.
What exactly would you tell them?
Get to know these women, because I feel like people. So intimidation. Honestly, when people are intimidated by something, they don't approach it. They sit back or they go the opposite way. And a lot of times, intimidation is brought on by anxiety and fear. But there's a difference between anxiety and fear. Anxiety is falsified fear. You're scared of your thoughts. It may not even be in front of you. Fear is something that's physically in front of you. So with that being said, talk to these women. They may not even be aggressive. They may have like an aggressive nature, because like strong women, people, whether they like it or not, people can feel energy. Strong women have strong energy, so they may come off as strong. Approach the woman, talk to her, shake her hand. I guarantee you, she'll be just nice, kind. And if she's not, then that's a different story.
Yeah.
But I come off aggressive.
I could say, if you feeling intimidated, men out there who are feeling intimidated by women, I think you should check yourself. Like there's something going on within yourself that you feel like you can't hold yourself when you come against a strong woman. Yeah. And I feel like that just boomerangs back to yourself. You know what I mean? Figure out something. There's something that you're lacking that you can't. There's something within yourself that you can't contain, or that you can't stand on in your gut to be able to talk face on a woman. And there's many people like that, you know what I mean? Especially when you see strong women that aren't, you know what I mean, using their body as language or doing stuff like that. Because it's easy to talk smooth in, you know what I mean? Talk to the lady who's all done up, But when you talk straight on to somebody, you have to look them straight in their face, like, because it's the same thing, as a woman, I came around a lot of strong men before I came in front of strong women. And that's what made me a strong woman. I had to come into contact with strong men who automatically off the bat would look down on me because I was a woman. Until I got in front of them, and talk what it is, like tell them, I had to talk to them, you know what I mean? Let them hold myself in a certain manner to let them know, I'm trying to talk to them. You know what I mean? I feel like it goes both ways. I had to find that in myself. You know what I mean? I had to engage within myself. Knowledge is huge. You know what I mean? If you have nothing to talk about, that's a dead end. You know what I mean? You're running yourself into a dead end. Of course you're going to be scared. But I think that's just my own thing, whether it's for women or to men. Just look at yourself. You know what I mean? Get your own knowledge up. Try to strengthen yourself so that no matter who you come in front of, you're not intimidated.
So confidence is key.
Confidence and knowledge. Confidence and knowledge go hand in hand.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because there's a point where I had knowledge, but I didn't have confidence.
Yeah. So
I was very soft spoken. You know what I mean? There's times where I was hearing stuff and I just had my head down, where it's like, nah. But then I got my confidence, and it's like, nah, like I'm not gonna let nothing slide.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So there's people out there who spend half their lives trying to find themselves. But you guys seem very secure in yourselves. So why? Like, where'd y'all find that sense of security? Like
mine came with circumstances, different
circumstances.
Like I guess different the problems I faced in life. I had to grow up quick. You know
so
what
can
I mean?
you touch on some of that? If you, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I mean that's why I was super excited to do these things, is because I'm a very general person. You know, I'll talk around everything. You know what I mean? I do.
And still make a point.
I still make a point. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I like to do it, because for me, I don't ever like to put any of my family down or anything. You know, but growing up, we did have a rough life. You know, my pops, he was like any other man. He got swallowed by the things of this world, drugs, alcohol, just certain addictions, and it drove my family through hell. Gambling was a huge one, and we faced a lot of battles. I lived in Colorado. I grew up out there, and we're constantly moving. You know what I mean? As soon as we get settled in, boom, we're moving again. We always had problems. My dad, he liked to stunt, you know what I mean? I'll be honest, they liked to stunt. We always had a nice car. We always had a big house. But, sometimes we had problems with water being on. Sometimes we had problems with electricity being on. Sometimes there wasn't always food. You know what I mean? Those are just shallow problems that I grew up knowing that wasn't all right. So when I started, I grew up like trying to like fight my dad. So when I started like speaking up and letting him know like, yo, this isn't right. That's when there was conflict. There was conflict between us. And so when that conflict happened, you know what I mean, I ended up leaving home at a very young age. I think the first time that I left home, I was 11. And I can't even walk into like McDonald's, you know what I mean, and be like, can I get a job at 11 years old? They're gonna laugh at me. You know. So I fell into other things, you know what I mean. I fell into other ways of making money, and I feel like that's what made me such a strong person, is because I realized how cold this world could be. I really did reach rock bottom. There was times where I was sleeping at parks, you know what I mean? And that was all my choice, you know what I mean? I can't put that on my parents, overall. It was on me, and that was because I wasn't okay with wrong. You know what I mean? I'm still not okay with wrong. And there's certain things that I do in my life that ain't right. But at the end of the day, I'm working just not for myself. I see it as a whole. I've always, since I was younger, people would be asking me what you want to be. And I thought I wanted to be a doctor because growing up, doctors help people. You know what I mean? That's automatically what you think. But since I was young, I knew I could change the world. You know what I mean? And that's just me thinking, you know what I mean? And we all can. We all got the power to do so, especially now. We live in a time where opportunity is huge. Oh, did you have a...
So if the younger version of yourselves saw how you are today, what do you think they would think or say?
I get a pat on my back. I feel like I'd get a pat on my back just because everything, like being younger, I was very manipulated by the things I grew up in. Before I reached this point, girl, I was that puppet. You know what I mean? Everything that I'm speaking on, that's why I can speak on it, is because I've been in that place. You know what I mean? Where I thought I had to be pretty. I thought I had to do this. I thought I had to do that. And I was listening to a lot of outside voices. And everything, I could have been a product of my environment. You know what I mean? If you take me back 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't think I would made it right here. But I think my son is what drove me a lot to really jump the gun. Once my son was born, I was like, man, nah, that's it.
Yeah, how'd you find yourself, man?
Oh, I mean, I found myself by finding out who I wasn't. Went to school for culinary arts.
Okay.
Loved to cook, but it wasn't for me. Went to school for fashion design. Loved to create. Wasn't for me. Went to school for massage therapy, aesthetics, and nail technician. But after I wrote my book, I knew that I'm a writer. I've always known I was a writer. I love all of these things, but nothing ignites me like writing. Massage after, because I'm a bomb, dope massage therapist. Guarantee it. Come get a massage from Kelly, not Sacred Fantasy, but get your poetry from Sacred Fantasy, okay? Ha, ha, ha. So the younger me, she would tell me stop standing in my way, because I know I'm not doing things to my fullest potential. I know I'm standing in my way right now. So I have to get out of my way.
Guide yourself from the younger you a little bit too? Is that what you're saying?
I just need to stop standing in my way. Like I have all of these things that I want to do. Now I'm starting to do them, but I feel like all my potential I don't put it forward all my potential. I keep it in my room in a book or on my phone.
Why do you think?
I don't know. You know what? I won't say I don't know. I guess it's just I just haven't done it. Because
then it's a while.
No. The showcases. Yeah. The showcases. I've been so focused on everybody else and trying to make sure everybody else is good. Put me to the side because I want to see everybody else excel before I just say I'm about to do this or do that. So I've been putting other people before myself.
So is that the block that's holding you? I don't want to say holding you back, but it's just in the way.
I won't say it's in the way, but it's kind of
it's pulling from other areas.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you this: when is your time?
When is your time?
Now, right?
Your time is now.
Right now. I just recorded a song yesterday.
Yeah, she on it, you know what I mean? That's for sure something, especially when you choose to give in to other people. Right. That's 10 times harder than it is progressing yourself, because people take energy, man. And especially spiritually and just energy in itself, energy either gives or pulls, so when you're around other people and your energy is stronger than theirs and you're trying to inspire and motivate, people are pulling from you. So that's what took me out of my route and why I had to re-strategize from my storefront to just pull out overall is because I was letting too many people take from me and I wasn't giving enough to myself at all. I wasn't showing myself love. I wasn't thinking about what I wanted to do, so now I've been given the opportunity and the time to really sit down and think about what my next move is. That's why I've been feeling like I've just been staying very on still waters for now because for the past 2.5 years, I was on go. I was heavy, man. Every single day, I was working for somebody, doing something, and I was nursing my son. You know what I mean? My son was a huge part of my life, and he just turned 2 also. So that was huge. He took a lot from me physically. Nurturing a baby, especially while nursing, that took a toll off of me. But definitely worth it. You know what I mean? But overall, just realizing how to give back to yourself.
So I was in the barbershop the other day and it was a guy in there and he was talking about how he said, man, I tell the truth to everybody except for my woman. No, wait, he said that his logic was that he lies to her because he loves her. And because he loves her, he don't want to hurt her feelings. And he don't want to
you hear it, you know what I mean? It's because love is a beautiful thing. And that's why it's one of the hardest emotions to be connected into is because when you love somebody, that's the number thing. You don't want to hurt them because whatever you do to them, it's bouncing back. It reflects. So I've heard that too many times where it's like, I'm not going to tell her it's going to hurt her. Like my homies will tell me that.
So do you agree though? Do you agree with the statement?
Nah, I don't agree. I feel like, I feel like what you like, it's all within preparation. If you're not preparing your woman or preparing the person who you're talking to be able to get the worst, then you don't love them to that degree.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because the way that I love is you're gonna handle whatever I can handle. You know what I mean? We're gonna get through this together. So I don't feel like lying is ever an option. Period. Lying that's doing more damage that overall.
Yeah. I had this friend relationship. Or I did nothing but lie. It was like it was just lie after lie, and I'm not that person. So I'm glad I had that experience because now I can say, see it from both standpoints. So a person that's lying, they're just not sure of themselves. Or like if we were in a relationship, why would I lie to you? There's no reason to lie. I shouldn't be doing things.
There is reasons.
But I know there's not.
One is losing you.
But okay, if I wasn't doing things that I shouldn't be doing certain things.
Yeah.
If I gotta lie to you, that means I'm doing something that you wouldn't like. So that means I have the issue, not you. So the thing about love is itself. Like lying is a different entity. Insecurities are different entities. Infidelity are different entities. All those have nothing to do with love.
But they're all on the same hand?
They're not. No, they have nothing to do with one another. No, they have nothing to do with one another because it's just like people taint love. You get what I'm saying? Because if I lie to you, if I cheat on you, that's what I did. But love is a different entity. Love is pure divine. Love is what it is.
Yeah.
So love is we and what you did is I.
Love is love.
Okay.
We love. We love love. You know what I'm saying? Lies are of us. Love is just generalized. Love is what it is. It's nothing other than what it is.
I feel like she's saying that pure love, you cannot cross genuine love. You know what I mean? Like you cannot cross a genuine person. You know what I mean? Overall, like that's what she's saying. Love is love. You know what I mean? So if you're doing anything that isn't of love, then I feel like that's of hate. You know what I mean? That's a different substance.
Yeah,
so if you're trying
love.
to intertwine both of them, you have a bomb waiting to tick off. You know what I mean? That's just the way I look at it. And you know, none of us are perfect. You know what I mean? We've all been in certain circumstances and instances, but it's just a matter of growing. You know, I feel like people get so poisoned by one thing and they just feel like they're stuck. You know what I mean? And they'll get themselves, or like if a man were to lie to his woman, right? A man lies to his woman and then he doesn't know how to backtrack that, or he has no way to explain for himself, then you're stuck. You know what I mean? You're stuck. But no, you could have fixed that. You could have talked your way through it. Like even if like going back to shine light on it, you know what I mean? Explaining the reason why or feeling, but then it goes hand in hand, and is, are y'all willing to work together? Because if you can't, because you have times where people mess up and then every single time they want to bring that situation up or bring this up or continually attack at certain things. You know, if you're gonna find a problem, or if you're gonna find a solution to a problem, let that be the solution and continue to grow. You know, so I feel like there's a lot that goes to that.
Yeah, because once she find out he's lying, there's no more relationship. There's no more trust. He's broken her trust. You can't have love without trust. So he's already messed up.
What do y'all feel is the biggest misconception when it comes to
that people don't understand what love is? Like, love is love. People think hate and things come with love. That does not come with love. Love is love. If when you love somebody, the bad things about yourself will either intensify or they'll decrease. If he's a liar, he's going to lie to her more. You know what I'm saying? So he feel like he tells everybody the truth, but he wants to lie to her. So he doesn't know how to love, or he feels like he has to lie to her in order for her to love him. So maybe there are some things about himself that he's not comfortable with.
I feel like a huge misconception is probably lust. You know what I mean? Lust. And lust doesn't just always come in a sexual form with like wanting to get, you know what I mean? Lust can come in impressing you. I could say that I love you because I'm trying to impress you. And that's where confusion comes in, because you're not being the real you. I feel like nowadays, because people don't want to take them for how they are, social media, it takes a big part in it, you know, being something and portraying this huge thing because you're stuck behind a picture. I feel like that's why, and it's crazy. I always tell people this, that they actually did was an experiment on younger kids, and what they tested was the younger kids' attention span. And nowadays, people's attention span is from 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah,
that's their time frame on attention span, and that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's because everything's like so accessible for us. Yeah, and it is. It's so sad, because I remember I used to talk to my grandpa for hours on end. You know what I mean? Me and my papa would have long conversations just talking. You know what I mean? I'd be completely tuned in, completely focused. And now 2 to 3 minutes go by and you don't have my attention.
Right.
That's horrible. You know what I mean? And that's going to take a big effect on love. You know what I mean? And everything is, I feel like a lot of it is, now we live in a lot of our selfish ways. What could you give me? Right. What can I take from you? Back then it was never like that. Everybody was going through the same struggle because everybody was coincided by the same restrictions, that it was like, whatever I'm gonna do, it's gonna help you. It's gonna be a domino effect to help the people next to us. Now, since we have every opportunity to live for ourselves, we're not thinking about each other, you know, or just thinking about what we could get. And I feel like that's because we don't have love in our hearts. You know what I mean? Genuine love. I love my neighbor. I love you. I love you. Everything that I'm doing it's gonna affect you. So I can't do this. That's love. You know what I mean? That we don't love on each other like that.
Exactly.
Ain't that way no more.
Yeah, it's like twin flames and soulmates. Y'all are all soulmates. Soulmates mean your soul was meant to mate with a person. Like, mate just means to match, meant to cross paths. But your twin flame shares like the same core energy. Y'all are of the same like energetic balance, meaning
yin and yang type of thing. Or
so yin and yang, those are two. Yin and yang is like peace. It's like
yin and yang. So yin and yang would be kind of different, because yin and yang is good and bad.
Yeah,
good and bad. But what brings them together is that, and that's, I have the whole yin and yang like breakdown down my back. You know, so the first symbol that I have on my neck is just all good. So all it is just a circle. You know what I mean? And that's how I felt like we were born into this world. We were brought into this world pure. You You know what I mean? When you're first born, you have made no sin. You know what I mean? You're pure. And then for me, growing up, the world evil devoured me. So that's why I just felt like I was just completely contained with nothing but negative and bad energy. But within my struggle, I found good. I found pure love. I found people who would ride for me. You know what I mean? I found, that's where I found the good in people. And then I gave my life to God. You know what I mean? Fast forward, I gave my life to God, and I was serving for Him. And then the people around me, the pastor, he was using the Bible to lead his congregation in the wrong way. And that's when God taught me that there could be a lot of evil and good.
Right.
But once you figure out and realize all the goods and bads and being able to correspond them together, that's what yin and yang is. You know what I mean? Finding your bads and your goods and being able to find balance between both of them, because either way there's good and bad.
Right.
You know, so finding that balance between them, I feel like it's what's good. And so what she's talking about, you know, just like finding your soulmate or finding people, because everybody, you know, you don't gotta be best friends with everybody. You don't. You know what I mean? You could find people who connections, and that's big in business. You know what I mean? With everybody who you're in business with, you don't gotta be best friends with. It's better, honestly, it's better not to.
Right.
But that's when loyalty comes into play. You know what I mean? So it's all within connections and stuff. So I feel like that's what she's saying is finding people who you have like flames with, and then finding your soulmates within your friends and family.
Yeah, friends, family, because a soulmate gets you ready for the next person. So you're one of my soulmates because you got me ready for, you know, my poetry, or you enhance things within me that gets you, send you to your next soulmate. Like, we're all soulmates because we're now teaching each other things. An ex is one of your soulmates. Your twin flame doesn't get you ready for the next person. Y'all ready each other.
Just igniting each other.
Yeah, for the world outwardly. Yeah, because then y'all make the world better together as opposed to bettering each other for the next person.
Okay.
Y'all spread love.
I have a question for you that's kind of like off topic of what we were just talking about.
Okay.
So you said you're Filipino and
Chinese.
So can you teach us some stuff
from our culture? Yeah, so I'll be honest, from the Chinese culture, I haven't learned too much. My dad's dad, he died when my dad was 2. He was drinking and driving. He was on a motorcycle crash. My dad was 2 years old. So they moved. My grandma remarried a white man, and he was in the military, and they moved here to the States. So I'm very Americanized, honestly, if you ask me. I was born in Colorado, but overall, one thing that I take from my Filipino culture is love. You'll every Filipino you meet, it's out of warm welcoming and just wholeheartedly. You know what I mean? Because over there it's a third world country, so they're still fighting every single battles all the time. There's like hundreds of dialects because there's so many barrios and it's so segregated that there's different languages within each one. You know what I mean? But the overall one is Tagalog. But one thing that I can say for like Filipinos and all is how much love and support they show within each other, you know? And morals are very strong out there. Like my grandma, like you know what I mean? It's just certain things where it's like they're very cultural. You know, we all eat at the family together. They actually eat, like the tradition that they have there is like banana leaves and stuff. They'll just put out banana leaves. They'll put all the food and you just grab. Like everybody eating together, and it's because everybody's getting fed. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's something beautiful that they hold. Huge things are is like just potlucks and just coming together and being around each other. I feel like that's something that we don't do very often. You know what I mean? We don't celebrate together. Everybody's so caught up in their own life.
So celebrating family?
Yeah, celebrating within family, you know, and that's very important, you know, and that's something that I want to get better at within, like, you know, my son and with raising him and my family to come is just making sure to incorporate that, you know. But I think overall, just love. Like if you look into the Filipino culture, you'll see smiles and also being very straightforward. You know what I mean? And having boundaries and having rules. There's not a lot of people who have rules anymore for each other. You know what I mean? Over there, it's like they're very straightforward. You can and you can't do this. You know what I mean? And they install that fear into you. Like, I'm scared of my grandma. Like, I'm dead scared. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So for sure, religion, they're very big on religion out there. You know, Catholicism is something that's very big there, but they believe in God. You know what I mean? They believe in, they know that we live on his world, you know? So that's when you install, because for me, the only thing I fear is God. So me being God-fearing, I grew up and I'm not gonna do that. God's looking. You know what I mean? So that makes you. That's something my grandma would always tell you. Make sure everything that you're doing bad, God is writing it down. You know what I mean? And I had to come to my point in my life where I'm like, damn, like God probably has a long list right now. You know what I mean? So I think just God fearing. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for asking me that though.
So do you plan on learning more?
I do need to. Yes, for sure. I definitely want to. So everything that I've kind of like grabbed onto was pretty much like something that like either my grandma's taught me or what I've learned. Within my business, I do implement. We're big on food. You know what I mean? We share our food with everybody. So like lumpia, that's like a Filipino egg roll that I've been serving at like at boba places and stuff.
Look, we should have told you to bring some.
I got you. Next time I'll just pull up on you guys. I'll bring you guys.
I'm here eating it.
I got you.
I've seen it a lot, but I've never tried it. I'm always like, I got you.
They're great. They're amazing.
So I like having the women on my show because I get to ask y'all questions that as some men would want to know. I know the questions I be wanting to know. So I'm wondering, is there a way to have a woman's mind and body and friendship without a relationship? So, in other words, friends with benefits, but a proper way of having friends with benefits.
You wanted love without conditions, not to mention the conditions that were mentioned. Friends and love and no commitment, but expecting me to commit to a friendship, keep my love available and wait in the distance. Come on.
Yeah, definitely with us, you know what I mean? I know there's some females out there, they like open relationships. They like to do their dues, but, I feel like there is a time, you know what I mean, where, like, just working and then just wanting that physical touch, you know what I mean? That
too much energy.
But this is just for the men whose women's allow it.
Okay.
How should he properly
be
honest? Because he doesn't want to hurt her.
Be honest and open. That's for sure. Don't lie about it. And she's willing to do it, then do it. I mean, friendship means let it be a friendship. Yeah, don't BS. Get tested. Don't share STDs.
If you're gonna do it the proper way, do it one at a time.
Yeah.
Don't get too cocky where it's like, oh, I can do it one female, I'm gonna have two other ones, you know what I mean?
4.
So keep it one at a time, but overall if you are.
What's your got to say?
Yeah, what do you have to say? I heard some ha. The dog started talking too?
Yeah, well,
what were your thoughts?
Can't have a friendship.
I believe that's something that's wrong with society right now. I believe we've over-sexualized love and sex as a whole to the point where we have women that's trying to do that, but they don't understand what it's doing to their psyche and to their heart. If you're gonna do some friends with benefits type shit, you can't have no friendship. I can't get to know you mentally.
I'm gonna say it's just with benefits.
If I get to know you mentally, I'm gonna become invested.
Yeah.
And you're gonna become invested.
Too much energy.
I like that. I like it.
Yeah, Tylee is amazing.
You know who I would talk about.
What's going on here?
What we saying?
We're gonna interview you now.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah, just be careful.
So, in your liberation song, right?
Yeah.
Say that line to me. Say the line again about the X's and O's.
X's and O's and ones and zeros are parts of the same code.
Okay, now, how does that reflect in real life?
Okay. X's and O's, hugs and kisses, ones and zeros are computer. So that's why it says the gyri of the brain and a myocardium of the heart. So X's and O's, ones and zeros. That means the brain is not the heart and the heart is not the brain. So if I'm, like what Tylee was saying, if I have a friend and we have benefits and we are starting investing time and energy into one another, my heart says, I want you. It can go to I love you because, once you have sexual intercourse with a person, you're tying energies, you're making a soul tie. Whereas the mind can be saying, stop, don't do this. It's not wise. So you have to know the heart and the mind are two separate entities. But when they come together, and if they do agree, then that's something that you both have to talk about.
That's strength. For sure. I completely understand that. Like, you have to, you know what I mean? Because some people, they feel with their thoughts. You know what I mean? And you can't do that. That's dangerous. Or some people, they think with their heart, and that's even more dangerous. Is because, yeah, it's crazy. You see people get so caught up because, you know, for me, I'm a loving person. You know what I mean? Especially with my love life. You know what I mean? I love to be loved. You know what I mean? But growing up, I put my love inside of I put my hands in the hands of boys, you know what I mean, who only thought with their heart, you know what I mean. So it was like their heart was feeling me because I was a genuine person. They were loving me because I'm a genuine person. I was a loyal person, but their mind, what they weren't thinking with their mind, you know what I mean. So so overall, whether it's love or anything, you have to be able to separate both of them. So that's why for me, whatever starts in my stomach, I let it flow through my heart, and then I think about it. So it's a process.
Gut feeling, intuition.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, no, it was zeros and ones.
Yeah. I like that. I liked it too. I was like, this girl got bars. Okay.
Yeah, I have bars.
You a rapper. So how do y'all deal with? How do y'all deal with heartbreak today?
Oh,
grown women's
poetry.
How do y'all deal with it today?
Music.
Yeah, for sure. Poetry was huge.
Yeah.
I think the biggest heartbreak, the number one heartbreak is the separation between me and my son, because me and his dad separated. So it wasn't the heartbreak didn't occur with me and my son, or with me and him. It was more of the separation of my family, because growing up, I had never wanted that. You know what I mean? I never thought or sought to see co-parenting or my son living in two different households. So honestly, I'm still battling that. That's something that's very present in my life, and the way that I cope with it is just making other strategic moves, you know what I mean? And being able to stay focused on the bigger picture and what I know, what I want to do. So for me, with a heartbreak, it's all present time. You know what I mean? When you're going through something and when you're battling certain things in your life, just know that it's not permanent. You know what I mean? That's only for now. And you're going to get over that hump. Feel like that's where people lose themselves, because they're so caught up in the moment, so caught up in the heartbreak, that they cannot think abroad that they cannot think past it. And I think that's why removing yourself and just knowing that there's a bigger picture, and let those battles implement you. My biggest power that I hold come from my biggest pains. You know what I mean? From the things that I suffer from the most, I turn those around. I created a reaction, an opposite reaction, and I use it as power. So, and you can do that. You know what I mean? It's just finding it within yourself.
Power.
Yeah, I agree. Now I deal with heartache differently. I feel like if my heart is aching, I use my mind because it needs rest.
Yeah, what do you mean? Come on.
So what I mean is, my heart is aching because I probably invested too much of my heart energy into too much love into the situation. So if my heart is aching, now I have to take a step back and say, you know what, this situation is not working. So I have to assess it. Am I still putting myself in this situation that's going to cause my heart to ache more? I step back, analyze the situation, and analyze my feelings, because feelings come after thought. So now I'm thinking about, this pain. Now I'm feeling sad. So instead of thinking about the pain, now I think about it more logically. What can I do to get past this for the moment, the present moment? I can write. So now,
don't mess with the poet.
So, you know what I'm saying? I have a whole book about heartache. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever loved so profoundly? It's confusing. Nights with no sleep. I think I might weep. No whispers, no peace, but fists clenched on the surface. I am in too deep. The sheets ache around me. Smile has left me where it found me. Free, nothing has bound me. Hands to the sky like the swine surrounds me. Every day's a blessing. Past filled with lessons. Baked a couple times. Ate the peaches and the dressings.
You know, I really get this like Oshun vibe.
I love Oshun.
And like the Mother Nature vibe. You know what I mean? I really get that from you. Like, what's
my album is called Earth.
Do you do that? Do you do that on purpose? Like, do you look up to, or do you look to be like that? You know what I mean?
As far as I know her, that I feel her. You know what I mean? I usually pick up when you have people, you know a person when they're quoting other people, you know what I mean? Right. Or they're inspired by other people. And then you know people for solely who they are. You know, as long as I've known Sacred, she's mobilized on herself. You know what I mean? And sometimes the feelings kick in, you know what I mean? Where you know, it's Sacred. She's going, you know
well, I mean, the things I name are really mainly like spiritual embodiments anyway. I mean, yeah, man. Do you realize that you give off that aura?
I mean, I'm Earth. We're all Earth. We're from Earth.
I call it that.
So it's just like, I'm just me to the T.
I feel like that's what anybody can empower that. You know what I mean? We can empower that when you allow your roots to really set into the world around you. It's very hard. You know what I mean? It's very and it's dangerous. It gets dangerous because you start to feel and see in a different manner. You know, so it's really about planting your feet and like really sprouting within everything that's around you.
Right.
But some people it's a scary thing. You know what I mean? But Sacred's mastered it. For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. She got her own little vibe, man. For real.
Vibey.
How do y'all deal with anxiety and depression? And can y'all tell a story about it first, and then tell me how y'all dealt with it?
I got it. You can go first.
Anxiety, I deal with it. Anxiety is not real. Fear is real. Anxiety is manifested within the mind. Mm-hmm. So if I start to get anxious, I'm moving too quickly, or I'm thinking too quickly, or I'm manifesting my reality. So let's just say when I walked in the building and I heard y'all downstairs, like at first I'm thinking like, who is that? Who could it be? But then it's just like me being me, I'm just like, whatever, something's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I just let the idea of it go. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, there are multiple people here going to be here today. So it's probably someone I know, which I should have been on alert. But I'm like, when the problem arrives, it's like I already looked at a few objects that were in the room. Like if I had to use them, they would have been used. So I eliminated that anxiety. Mm-hmm. But with depression is hard because everybody goes through it differently. But when I'm depressed or feel like I'm getting in that situation where I'm down, I go outside, take my foot off and become grounded. Grounded means like people like I'm grounded. Grounded means you put your feet on the earth and you normalize your energy with the earth's energy. You reconnect yourself. So in depression, go out, start doing things you love again, because depression is like, it can be consuming to where people, I like to think of it as a tier.
Okay.
So here is rock bottom. Here is just, you're very happy. You have a thought that, let's just say is a negative thought. It brings you down a tier. You have another negative thought. It brings you down a tier. You have a positive thought. And you go up one. But when you keep thinking negatively, you hit rock bottom. So when you're in the sunken place, you have to think positively, but it's going to be hard to get back up there because you're so weighed down by negative thoughts. So you're going to have to keep thinking positively until you get to, you know, a gray area where you can, you know, then it's your choice. Are you going to stay in the sunken place, or are you going to get out and just be? But it's good to have people around you that are lovers who gone through that, and just be around people who are motivating, like JC. Like I call you when I'm like I can't think something through. I'm like, who can I call? I call Tylee. I call JC, because it's not, you know, it's people who I know are going to tell me things that I can process, and whose opinion I value, and they're not going to, you know, tell me things just to pacify me. So you have to get out and just bloom, breathe. Ground yourself. And read my book, Sacred Fantasy. You can find my book at thesacredfantasy.com. I have to put that plug in there.
So what was the time?
What are ways other than poetry that y'all ground yourself?
Go outside, connect to nature, eat. Don't overeat, you know what I'm saying? Because when I'm in that place, I overeat, and I love it, though. And that's the reason why I say don't overeat, because you'll get to the point where you're doing that's all you're doing. You're just going to food, you know, for comfort. So find what you most love, and you do that. If writing makes you happy, if painting makes you happy, if playing video games make you happy. But honestly, I say go outside first, because sometimes that closure, being in a closed room, you know, with all that energy, it just comes back. Go outside.
I think anxiety and depression, I feel like a lot of people use it as a handicap, you know, especially it's a lot more normalized nowadays, you know. I feel like back then, if my grandma heard I was depressed or anxiety, she'd probably smack me out of it, you know what I mean? Like, what, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, you good, you know what I mean? Because overall, it is a mental capacity, and you're asking, you know, I feel like I'm probably in the most depressing phase right now in my life that I've ever experienced, you know. With I touched on a little bit, like having to leave my son, you know, with the split of me and his father. Like I feel like that put a huge weight of depression on me. A lot changed with my business, you know. I had a fallout of business partners, investors, and just having to re-strategize for everything that I envisioned, you know what I mean. It put me in a depressing state to where, you know, it affects how I move, you know what I mean. I've never felt I've never felt in this time, you know what I mean? Or it even handicaps the way that, or my ability to speak, you know what I mean? That's why I've found myself right now very general. You know, I've been in the past, even within my music and my poetry, everything that I'm writing is very general because I still can't talk on certain things that I've gone through in my life. And I feel like first of all, don't use anxiety or depression as an excuse. A lot of people will tell you, I don't want to go there because I have anxiety. You know what I mean? I'll still go. We were just at for a heartbreak. They threw a Halloween party. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people in there that I didn't expect to be around. And I told Moses, like, we got to go outside. You know what I mean? I got to go inside, sit in his car real quick to recoup myself together, hop back out the car, went back in. You know what I mean? And it's a matter of finding your strength to be able to fight with it because it is a battle. Whether or not depression and anxiety is a mental battle, and being in a mental battle, that's one of the strongest battles that you come forth through. You know what I mean? It's a strength that you have to use that your physical power can't do enough to. You know what I mean? That should just tell you off the back how powerful that is. So for me, it's like what she's saying, find support. You know what I mean? Find a support system. I grew up very stubborn where I kept to myself. I withdrew myself from my family, from my friends. I was always by myself. I rode solo dolo everywhere, you know what I mean? And then finding people who I could trust, you know what I mean? It's very enlightening for me and my battle. If I didn't come around all the people who I know now, I probably would have took my son and ran away. Like, honestly, like, forget my business, forget everything I worked for. I had that. Plan B was already in stop because of depression. You know what I mean? Depression caused me to create a whole plan where I'm going to kidnap my son and move and not deal with anybody. That's depression talking to me, because if you're talking to me, that's not an option. You know what I mean? Running away is not an option. It took me to really have to dig deep and look at my son and look like, all right, what am I going to teach him? To run away from your problems? Nah, because that's not an option. And everybody has to know that. Anxiety, depression will tell you to do so. Anxiety and depression will tell you to stop what you're doing. Anxiety and depression will tell you to stop. You know what I mean? Run the other way. Figuring out how to find strength to fight those is the number one. It's the hardest thing that you'll face, but it's the number one thing that'll bring in so much value to you and the other people around you. And people have to realize that. Fight your battles straight on. You know what I mean? So I feel like anxiety and depression is a huge thing nowadays. A lot of people seek to use that as an excuse, like I was saying, and I feel like, and especially for the government, you know what I mean? Pharmaceuticals, pills, all of that, that's a huge income. That's huge.
Oh, yeah.
And they're banking off of it. So that's why if you go and you tell your mom you're depressed and she takes you to a therapist, boom, pills off back before they even talk to you. They already have that in a prescription for you. So for me, it's like, just dig deep into yourself. You're gonna come into some dark places, but shine light on whatever you need to.
Exactly.
So for jC, in your poetry, you speak a lot about strength and individual, extending 10 toes down. So my question for you is, in a society that kind of romanticizes suicide and depression, it has now become kind of a fad, and now it's kind of cinematic.
Very cinematic.
What do you use, and what could you say to like younger viewers that helps instill that strength
within them?
Like, how did you get that strength in a world that kind of pacifies it?
Yeah, I was left out on my own. Like, I was left out by myself alone a lot of times. You know what I mean? A lot of people left my side. A lot of people pushed me away, and that's a horrible feeling. You know what I mean? Especially when you're feeling alone. I feel like that's the number one pain that derives from anxiety and depression is feeling alone, you know? And so I set myself alone. That's what I did. You know what I mean? Honestly, I put myself on the very edge, and I was like, okay, well, if this is the number one thing that's hurting me, all right, now I'm gonna have to learn how to survive on my own. And people don't do that nowadays. So many people are so clinged on to like this person or this person or this person, or especially in younger teens who are finding relationships. You know what I mean? We're not being taught to be self-sufficient with ourselves. We're not teaching our younger kids to love ourselves. We're teaching them to find a little shorty and do that and such, you know what I mean? Which is crazy, and that's not the way. You know what I mean? You gotta love yourself before anything. So I think, before, to answer your question honestly, is pull all strings aside. You know what I mean? Take away everything that's helping you and put it aside for a second and see how you can do without it.
Right.
Because I had to do with just what I had on my back. You know what I mean? There was times where I set myself aside to be able to do that. So my strength doesn't come from anything else but that. With finding my own way, my own route, not listening to so and so. Because so many people will tell you how to do this or what to do. Don't listen to that. Just listen to yourself. You know.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So you met Logic.
Yeah, you saw that or what?
Of course.
Man,
so,
yeah. I was just talking about this story. Yeah, that was before Logic was anything. I remember I posted that picture because my little brother, he's always been, he's a huge lyricist, right?
Yeah, I seen him. He was rapping with him and everything.
Yeah, he helped me. He tied me into a lot of music growing up. But at this time, I had heard of Logic. I hadn't really known him too well, but I saw some tickets on it. So I was like, man, I'm gonna get my brothers. We're gonna go. So I bought some tickets for all of us. We all went. And before I thought about like getting into the music industry, it was all about I was gonna be my brother's manager. Like he was I would manage him. Yeah. You know? So we had burned some CDs. You know what I mean? Brought them to the venue with us. And then I went to the restroom and I saw a security guard and Logic's manager. I was in front of a door, so I was like, man, Logic's back there. He has to be if they're posted out here. I run back to my brother. I get the CDs. I go back. I'm like, yo, look, my brother's 14 years old. He's trying to bring hip-hop back to the golden days. He's a lyricist. You need to listen to this. Bring this back to Logic and tell him to listen to it, right? So since I'm talking to him straightforward, and I'm really telling him, he's like, is your brother here with you right now? I'm like, yeah, he's here. He's like, all right, wait after the show, and y'all will be able to tell Logic yourself. I'm like, bet, you know what I mean? So we're waiting, you know what I mean? I have a shirt, I go to Rhetoric, I get him to sign it. It was so funny because we were waiting like an hour and a half. I told Rhetoric, I'm like, yo, your manager told me that I was going to talk to Logic. Where's Logic? And like Rhetoric just looked at me like, who are you talking to? You know what I mean? But it was just because I was so persistent and I wanted my brother to get this opportunity because I knew he deserved it. So an hour goes by, you know, we're still waiting, and then finally Logic tries getting us on the tour bus. Security's like, nope, we're not doing that. We still don't know these people. Logic gets off his tour bus, goes back into the building, and we're all in there, and they're still cleaning up and everything. He tells my brother, all right, spit some. My brother starts drilling, going in, just freestyling, doing what he does, you know. And after Logic was like, man, you got a shot at this, you know what I mean? So it was just an opportunity and just to know how real it is. People do not understand how dreams can become reality. Right. You know what I mean? You look at all these other people, don't let the flashy lights and stuff, don't let that distract you. Logic was still a real person. He sat there and shook my hand. You know what I mean? Like, real. You know what I mean? So when I saw that, I was like, man, this is doable. I saw Logic. That was a great experience. I remember I was posting those videos. Everybody was like, who's Logic? Nobody even knows Logic. Now he's very well known. You know, especially I love his art. You know what I mean? He's impacting with purpose. That's what we got to do. You know what I mean? As an artist, knowing what kind of power you have to impact with purpose. A lot of these people, it's just for the fun. You know what I mean? It just to get people, you know what I mean, jiggy, to be able to get them hyped up and whatnot. But there's no substance to it. At the end of the day, when you die, what are they going to know about you? That you like to be in the club, that you like to be at strip clubs, you know?
Right.
No substance.
Your books, what are they called? Your
books?
Books?
Blessings in Disguise. You can find them at that's THE, sacredfantasy.com. So THESACREDFANTASY.com.
Okay.
Or you can
find Amazon.
No, I sell them directly because everybody that's bought my book has had a personal conversation with me, has met me, or they bought a book by referral.
The 7th book.
Yeah.
7th copy.
Yeah. So you bought one of the very first batches. Yeah. Actually, I sold my first set of books at Bubbly Boba.
A whole box full.
Speaking of, what is that?
Bubbly Boba. That's the business that I curated. It started in September of 2017. So that's whenever I got the place. You know, my location was ready. But then we did some renovation. I opened up in January 2018. So we had a storefront located off of 1933 Fredericksburg Road. It was kind of central area, you know. It was this tiny little small. It was horrible for day traffic because we're like off the corner. But overall, what it was designated for was because growing up I always wanted to open up a rec center. Like that was my goal. Like I'm gonna open up a rec center. But then I started thinking of like, in order to make change overall, we need money. You know what I mean? In rec centers, they don't really get too much money. So then I started thinking about food. Food will always be a must. You know what I mean? Everybody's always gonna want food. That's when I got into boba. Boba is it's a drink. It's an Asian beverage. It was made in Taiwan, so that's where it originates. And they just add tapioca pearls and stuff to it, so that's what makes it boba. Is that there's like
sounds
little
good.
So tapioca pearls are made from a cassava root, so it is raw material. So they make it into a cassava root. They roll it into a ball, and then it's shipped over to me, and I have to prepare it. So I cook it fresh, and then I caramelize it in brown sugar. So the goal to that is preparation. It's all about being able to curate, like prepare it the right way. So there's all different types of boba, but it's trendy. You know, the Asian culture is popping right now. You know what I mean?
Yes, it
is. It's crazy. You know what I mean?
K-pop is
crazy. Even anime. Everybody's watching anime. It's crazy because you see grown men rocking these Dragon Ball Z shirts. And it's because it's great. You know what I mean? I love animation. They guilty. He guilty.
Yeah.
He's guilty. And so
it's the new 2K.
That's why I implemented the Asian culture over it. I serve all my food in some like Asian, like they're cute little the Asian boxes and stuff. So it's all my foundation is solid. You know what I mean? From where I am, but my location wise, it came into fail whenever. So my business partner. No bueno. The first one, he tried to take my name off the DBA. Like I found out all these backstreets that he was trying to do, and that was even before we opened up. And so
I seen that you actually did an interview with another guy. What is it called?
Miguel. He's the Puzzle Podcast.
Yeah, I seen y'all was talking about that.
So if you want to hear, if you definitely want to hear all the in between details, I talk about I tell everything on that podcast. I know, he did. It's okay.
I know. I didn't. She didn't want to talk about it. To be honest, I could tell she did not want to talk about it.
No, of course it's just the fact because a lot of it hurts. You know what I mean? My vision is very strong, and so when things like that happen, when they interfere, it creates pain. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm still struggling with. But overall, that's what God envisioned for my place was to bring people together. You know what I mean? I just didn't want trendy people. I didn't want my place to be popping. You know what I mean? So I didn't market through. The only way that I marketed was word of mouth. If I met you, I felt like you were on the same wavelength, you're on the same energy. Come to my spot. That's how everything happened. You know what I mean? That's how I met Tylee.
So a chill spot.
That's what it is. Bubbly boba.
It was a chill spot.
It was your local chill spot. That's how it was. You know
I got that from the interview too.
Yeah. You good. So that's what that was designated for. You know, I had freestyle Fridays, like I was saying, and then I would throw together showcases. Ever since I turned 18, I started going out to local venues. You know what I mean? Spotting out artists who weren't getting the light because they were spitting real bars. You know what I mean? Because they weren't getting people hyped and stuff. So I started finding all these people. That's how I met LIT. Now we're all a part of a crew. We're all assigned under the called Heartbreak Records. Heartbreak Records.
It was something else, something 210. What is that?
That's Supreme Innovation 210. So they're a crew within Heartbreak label. So him and Apollo Black, it's LIT and Apollo Black, their crew, Supreme Innovation. They signed under Heartbreak label. Yeah, they go crazy. It's because we're very persistent in knowing how we want to approach this game. You know what I mean? And that's what we're trying to do. You know, so we came together and we all joined forces, and now we do it as a team. You know, and so that's Heartbreak. As far as Bubbly Boba is, like I said, it was all this stuff, and as you know, local businesses, they don't pull in money right away. You know, so my investor, he got lazy. You know what I mean? He didn't want to put in the work no more. He had other things to hear. Anxiety, depression was a huge thing. I don't want to say laziness, but it was just he didn't have his head straight. Nobody will ever see your vision the way you can. So he didn't want to be a part of the business. He let me know within a 2-week time frame I had to pull in money. You know what I mean? So I started getting on my money move, started having events, started having shows, got my money in. I didn't have employees. Me and my son's dad, we were working register. We were working cooking. We served Chinese cuisine, authentic Chinese cuisine, making boba. And then one day, I don't know if you heard, but we got into an argument, you know what I mean? And I realized this wasn't what he wanted. So he opened up the shop on Monday. I came in at 2 with my son. By 7 o'clock, his homie pulled up and he didn't cut off his lights. So I was like, oh, so he's not getting off, you know. I'm explaining to my customer what boba is because, of course, they don't know what boba is. And then I just start seeing my son's dad, you know, say bye one-on-one. He starts saying bye to our friend. He starts saying bye to our other friend. And then he kisses my son and walks out. The minute I saw him walk away, you know what I mean, from our empire, from everything that I had built, I had envisioned everything aligned with me, him, and my son. That put all the pressure and responsibilities on me. Mm-hmm. I was hosting events. I'd run out on the mic. You know, they see me. You know, I'd run up on the mic, talk, transition, run to the register, take people's orders, run to the back, cook, make drinks, push them out, hop back on the mic. You know what I mean? Walk around, be in security, all on my own. And I knew that at that pace and at that route, I wasn't going to be able to get where I had to go. So I had to re-strategize. So as of June, I pulled out of my location. A whole lot of mess happened with that too. I sold like my tables and chairs and all that. That all failed. You know what I mean? The unloyal people. But that's what happens when you have a strong vision and when you're trying to implement others with a positive action. That negative or the enemy and I say will come 10 times harder trying to knock that down. Mm-hmm. So I've been in a phase and in a stage in my life where he's been trying to knock me down. You know what I mean? Faced a lot of battles on my own, you know what I mean? But I know where I want to go. So yeah, that's what Bubbly Boba was designated for. You know, it's a place to bring people together. It tied in a lot of people that are connected in now. That place did it. You know what I mean? And I've always kept myself separate from my business. So if you know a Bubbly Boba, you know a Bubbly Boba. You know JC, you know JC. Not a lot of people know I own Bubbly Boba, you know. Not a lot of people know that Bubbly Boba, like, does what it does for me, you know, because I want to keep it separate because it's more for the people, you know. I don't want my name on it. I don't want my face shining on it. I want it to be its own entity for people to know it's its own safe haven. You know what I mean? You have problems, you have struggles. Best believe if you go there, you have people to get you right. You know what I mean? That's why I did it with word of mouth, was because I wanted, from everything that it started out with, the foundation, I wanted it to be built off of strong individual people who have suffered. And I mean genuine suffering, you know what I mean, who this world has shitted on and they conquered it. Those are the people who were at my shop. And it was beautiful. Every single night was powerful. Every single night was motivational. I'd have people leave crying, you know what I mean, hugging up on each other. Like, she was in there, she stood up one day, she was like, I know what I'm gonna do. I know what I'm gonna do and I'm gonna do it. I was like, yeah, like
I found myself.
Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, and Tylee too.
Yeah, Tylee. So now I'm at all your best local events, all the great.
So like, you kind of mobile now, or
so now mobile, yeah. So now I do pop-ups, yeah. So and it was better. That's part of me re-strategizing, was because overall I still wasn't hitting where I needed to because it's a new business. Not a lot of people know about it, and especially in marketing costs and money too.
Well, you're different. You're set apart.
Yeah,
like
I try.
Cool.
Yeah.
Don't let it turn around. You serve some type of like Chinese food on the go. What?
Yeah, right. Sure.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm buying. Everybody loves Chinese
outside
food,
the club.
Get tacos. That's what I'm saying, for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Tylee loves my food.
Pulling up.
You gonna say strip club? What you gonna say?
Yeah. They gotta eat too.
It can be anywhere. It'll be, you know. So if they do want to find it, you know, you can look at my business page. I'm a little bit more. I communicate a little bit more on Instagram. So Bubbly Boba and Chill, you could follow us there. I post the events that we're gonna be at. If you follow my personal page, usually where I perform, I try to pop up out. But
well, let me get a.
So if somebody wanted to contact you to do something for their event, how would they do that? Like,
thank you. Yeah. So my email would be bubblyboba, BUBBLYBOBA17 @gmail.com. That's for like business inquiries if you want to do it that way, or you can just message my social media page. I have a lot of people who they reach out to me. They want me to event at an event or what so forth. So I just do it that way. You can hit me up through there.
Okay.
Any other business? I know you said
she does it all.
Right.
I be hitting her up.
Shout out your stuff too.
Yes, please.
Okay, well, for my massage beauty page, you can find that. Listen, the easiest thing you can do is just find me at thesacredfantasy.com or sacred_fantasy on Instagram. I keep everything together because I do so much. Mm-hmm. And it's just like I'm not the most organized person. Mm-hmm. So for massages, I do have a page that a lot of people don't know is Amore Divine _ on Instagram, and you can message me there for massages, facials, nails, waxing, eyelash extensions, or you can reach me on my business number, which is 832-384-8958. I do spa parties. I travel Austin, Dallas, Houston.
She just did a massage out in Austin, right? You drove out there?
Yeah.
Assholes too.
Wow.
I asked her, I was like, do you do Brazilians?
Do you?
She's like, for you, Jade,
It's
I
for
will.
Huh?
Is that a real question? I mean,
That's a real question.
women, yeah. Yeah.
She was like, oh,
For women.
So
yes.
you don't wax men?
No, men are, they just, no.
Why not?
No.
I want to know why.
Because listen, it's just, it's too personal. Women don't come in and be like, hey, can you wax my balls? I'm like, no.
Hey, wax my.
I'm not waxing it. Sorry. I'm not touching any
So when
sperm.
he came in, it was just like, I want a Brazilian.
No, I don't do manzillions. No, sir.
That's just a personal preference.
Personal preference.
You
Just
know sacred, you know what it is.
yeah, I'm not. No, I'm sorry.
So no manscaping for you.
I mean, I'll manscape a face or chest, back, underarms, legs.
Nothing below the waist.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. So we got all social medias out there. We got everything out there. Anything else that you guys want to speak on?
Y'all got any questions for him?
Yeah.
Shit.
What was that?
Huh?
What was that?
Nothing.
Why did you start your podcast?
I started this because I always wanted to be on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't see that happening. And then podcasting came around. I looked at it as a second chance. And I talk a lot. So
do you know the steps to having your own radio station even within your house?
With your own radio station? Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's simple. I mean, you really probably just need a computer and a microphone.
You need a broadcasting channel that you.
Well, I mean, with social medias, that's pretty much your broadcasting channel. So
talking about you tune in from like your car.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess you're saying that there's steps.
There's steps.
Yeah.
So do you
I'm
plan?
pretty sure.
Do you plan on like?
I didn't want to own my radio station. No.
Oh, you just wanted to do it through social media? Is that
But no, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind being under. You know what I'm saying?
Something already established.
Something already established.
So you don't. That's not really in your vision to like start your own. You would like to branch under somebody or a certain.
Yeah, nah.
So you can be right under you.
Yeah, that would work. That would work.
Do you know any radio hosts?
Any other radio hosts? I know Keith Scott, and that's Miss Nika, of course. Brian Livingston. She does.
I know 4.
You do?
Yeah.
You probably need to get me in contact.
I'll plug you, definitely. So Thursday, go to Bentley Bar on Thursday.
Bentley Bar
on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, Bentley. There's a lot of dope art popping out of Bentley and connections. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about.
I want to do some networking with other podcasters and people, and you know what I mean.
Bentley Bar on Thursday.
We sure will.
Yeah.
I won't know about it until after.
We'll hit you up, girl.
Oh, we'll connect. We'll connect definitely.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. You know what I mean? Especially
thank y'all.
You know, all the questions that are derived. You know, this gives artists like me who, you know, if I'm not talking like this or I'm just goofy. You know what I mean? I'm just goofy. I'm just wilding. You know what I mean? So to be able to sit down and especially I'll engage if I'm spoken to, you know what I mean? As far as like getting very intellectual or if I'm on stage. If it's not within those terms, I don't have that focus to be able to sit down. So having a platform to be able to have great questions being asked and being able to speak to the people and just knowing that 5 years from now, I can look back at this and use this to be able to be like, where have I gotten from? That's more than a thank you. You know what I mean? So appreciate you guys for sure.
No problem. Right?
I wouldn't have missed it.
As well as having good conversation because everybody that come up here.
Yeah,
that's for sure. That is for sure.
You guys just gotta smile and ask the question.
Yeah, because some people will give you some super short, just
dry.
Okay.
I can talk for days.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Questions for him?
Any questions for me?
Give me 3 words.
3 words.
Random words.
3 random words.
Oh.
Fun, spontaneous, and loving.
She finished it.
It's so loving how you spontaneously bring the fun out of me. You bring the sun out of me because I flower and I bloom and I'm sacred within your tomb. So I open up your pyramidal tomb so I can touch all the treasures inside. That's your bounty, your booty. I love how you groom me. I be so smooth with it because I have no choice, because poetry is what I choose to be poised. So I choose now to play with toys. Never played with boys, but I tried it a few times. I tried it a few times. It just wasn't my divine line. So that at the end of the day, I just play smooth. I see my mind, my mental capacity on the tube, television, TV, because we all stars, how we reach for the bars. I know Mars the way I know Mars bars because I go into my cell, but I'm never in my own imprisonment, but I see it in different prisms, multifaceted places. I be in different spaces with people. I pray to the highest power, so you can say my mind is a steeple. I be sacred fantasy. Look me up on Instagram, sacred_fantasy.com.
Was that freestyle? Like,
yeah, of course that was a freestyle.
She just used my words as freestyle.
Yeah. I stay ready.
Y'all see that?
jC.tranquility. Follow me on Instagram. Yes, my Fed name is Jade Ariana. You can follow me on or add me on Facebook. No creep, so if I go through your pictures and you looking kind of creepy, that's more personal.
No, block.
No unwanted pictures.
No. It's illegal now.
Open up that request box.
It's all come storming in. Okay.
Thank you
right.
again. Appreciate
no problem, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Let's go out with one of your wild questions. Just one. Make it good.
Oh man.
I'm going to sleep.
That's funny.
So
I didn't have one.
finally a show that you didn't prepare one?
I did not prepare.
Cool.
I did not prepare a wild question,
It's
guys.
cool.
That's funny.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then we're out.
First time.
You don't want the
next time,
answer.
I like you guys. You guys brought the vibe. I brought the chill, man.
We'll be back.
Appreciate you.
All right, y'all. It's Radioactive. Peace.
Peace. And chicken grease.
So now let's go grub.
Yeah, always.
Guys, it doesn't want to end. No more.
Got it.
Oh, there it goes.
So guess.
Y'all